I am your host, Jaqueline Cuevas. I am a woman with a disability, and this is a brand new show, so thank you for staying on and listening to me. So, Needing Conversations is where empowerment begins with our stories. I am your host, Jaqueline Cuevas, and I created the show because many of us, people with disabilities, grew up hearing that what we couldn't do, who we shouldn't be, or why our disabilities made us less. Our limitations were always defined by other people. So here in Needing Conversations, we center the truth. We center lived experience. We center the idea that we can create a new reality when we're willing to have conversations our communities often avoid. We're always in the background, hidden. So with this show, we are going to put ourselves up top and have the world acknowledge the change that we can create, the power that we bring into our world. So today's episode is going to be centering about breaking the stigma in our community. As I mentioned, I am a woman with a disability. I have a hidden disability, and it's not something that was acknowledged or even diagnosed until 9 years after my first seizure. I am so honored to be here with you today. So before we begin, I want to invite each of my guests to introduce himself. I have Leonardo. Go ahead.
Hola, ¿cómo están? How is it?
You're a self-advocate, a leader, and someone living with cerebral palsy. But I would love for you to share who you are, what you're passionate about, and what advocacy means to you.
Okay, a little bit about who I am. I'm 27 years old. I live with cerebral palsy. I currently have a podcast, so this sort of stuff isn't new to me. I'm an advocate. I've been doing this for a little bit, since 2020, I think. And I also post videos on social media to create disability awareness.
That's wonderful. So I think you and I met in 2022 at the Self-Advocacy Day in Lansing, Michigan.
I believe so. I don't remember how long ago it was. I think it was a while ago.
It was.
Yeah, but I think Jaqueline and all of her staff were reaching out to me, and we had a hard time finding our way here, but we made it.
Well, I think we're really good at finding solutions to things, right?
Yeah,
we have to navigate a world that doesn't always accommodate to us. So we little problems, little hiccups here and there are no problem for us. We got it.
But I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. So when we met, I remember because I don't know a lot of Latinos disability advocates. It's not talked about in our culture. It's not mentioned. I know I grew up, as I mentioned, 9 years before my diagnosis because I have a hidden disability, hard to diagnose disability. And I remember we were going to go meet our legislators, and you and your mom were in the lobby, and you were speaking Spanish. Yeah. And I was like, ¡ay, Dios mío, qué bueno, qué bueno! Estaba yo tan feliz de poder conectarme con alguien. I was so excited to be able to connect to someone who not only understood the adversity of being disabled in the United States, but the added layer of complexity of being of a different culture, who doesn't understand.
It's funny that you mentioned that because before I met you, I really never met anybody who was an advocate with a disability as well. So it's kind of nice and refreshing to see someone that can relate to you in that way. And just because some of us have disabilities, in my case, I'm in a power wheelchair, but in Jaqueline's case, you can't necessarily see her disability, but it's there, and that's beautiful. It's beautiful that you guys create spaces like this for people to feel welcome and to feel that somebody can relate to them.
Exactly. Now, can you tell us a lot about what you do? I think when I met you, you were training people to live on independently. I'm not sure if you still do that, but take us through what your work does, what your content's about.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I was born here in Detroit, Michigan. I am Mexican descent. Both of my parents son mexicanos, y seguro que mi familia me está viendo. Saludos. I'll talk in Spanish throughout the thing, but
That's fine. Today's show is going to be bilingual. Feel free.
Okay.
Feel comfortable.
Oh, good. So I was born with cerebral palsy. I was born 6 months early. And my parents were really, really young parents when they had me. So I was first born. So when I was born, the doctors told my parents, we hate to be the bearer of bad news, but he's probably not going to make it. So I left it in the incubator for 3 months, and after that, they were like, okay, take him home. And thanks to some doctors and therapists and my parents who are so hardworking, I would not be here without my parents. I'm here, and I'm able to share stories now. A little bit about what I do now as an adult. I work with my DDI here at Wayne State, actually.
Oh.
And I also am an advocate on the side. So I've been working with my DDI for 6 years now.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
7 years, yeah. I've been working with my DDI for 7 years, and we do things virtually. So what I do in that space, I provide services for people. Let's say that you want to figure out how to move into your own place and you have a disability. I give you the resources, and it's a panel of a group of young people who we meet. We have meetings every month, and we have presentations every month.
That's great. That's very important work. Thank you for that. I know you mentioned you wanted to speak in Spanish a little bit.
Sí, quiero hablar en español porque yo me desenvuelvo más con español, pero bueno, me desenvuelvo mucho con los dos. Es citas de doctor conmigo y no mejoraba el idioma. Entonces yo hablo en español en mis entrevistas. También quiero contar que tengo un podcast, el que se llama el Podcast con Ruedas, donde doy favoritismo a las personas con discapacidad para que corten estigmas y todo eso. Y estoy en las redes sociales como Leo, el de la silla 7, también. Entonces yo siempre crecí con el consentimiento de que teníamos que ayudar y siempre quise que las personas con discapacidad no batallaran o no tuvieran que hacer lo que yo tuve que hacer, que el camino fuera más fácil para ellos.
Qué trabajo tan importante es, y me encanta el nombre, el Podcast con Ruedas.
Sí.
Es único y es me recuerda cómo tenemos que resaltar quién somos, nuestra identidad. Somos más que nuestra discapacidad, pero también la discapacidad es muy importante, es una parte muy importante de nuestra vida. ¿Y qué mensaje le tienes? Es muy impactante lo que dijiste, que tu mamá no tenía los recursos para poder navegar el sistema médico porque no tenía el idioma. ¿Qué mensaje le darías si pudieras cambiar el sistema para poder apoyar a esos padres que quizás en nuestra comunidad hablen español o hablen bangladeshi o hablen árabe o no saben navegar? ¿Qué esperanzas les puedes dar a esas familias?
Mira, esperanza, yo creo que todos tenemos la esperanza de que las cosas cambien, ¿verdad? Entonces, yo lo que quiero ver ya cuando esté muy, muy viejito, que todo el trabajo que yo hice o que hiciste tú, Jaqueline, que se feliciten las cosas para las personas con discapacidad. Mi sueño sería que la persona con discapacidad se sienta como un miembro más de su comunidad aquí en Detroit y en todo el mundo.
Esas palabras son las claves. Por eso hacemos este trabajo, para no sentirnos que estamos pidiendo un...
That I always say when I speak and when I talk to people and in my podcasts and my videos, what I say is we're all going to have a disability eventually. You know, you are all going to grow old someday. So we need that empathy. We don't just need you to put a elevator in a building. We need you to put yourself in our shoes.
Correct. Create with intention,
Yes.
right? Because once you build accessible, universal design, I've been studying and doing a little research on that. Once you build with everyone in mind, it can accommodate to everybody. Rather than vice versa, you build only for the able-bodied people, it can accommodate a certain population. But if your buildings, your structures, your designs for anything, not just structures, include everybody, then it's a service to everyone in the community, and it's actually more cost-effective.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I want to say is, like, disability can hit you at any time of your life. You can go out with your family, you run into an accident, and all of a sudden your life changes. And this is why we're talking about this, and this is why this is so important, is because we're doing this for your future. I like to say that people with disabilities help build the future for other people.
Absolutely.
You know? And how many times have you gone to, like, the mall and taken the elevator and not even noticed it? You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And what do you have to say about stereotypes you have faced as a child, as a Latino child with CP?
Okay, so stereotypes. I have to say that I've always been a child or a young man who has been outspoken. I love this sort of type of stuff. I love interviews and radio and all this stuff. As I said, I have my own podcast, so...
I think you and I, we're alma gemelas. We're like twin souls because I too, since a child, you give me a microphone, there's a stage, there's a camera. I don't even know what I'm going to say.
For our school, our high school. And I said to my teachers, I want to be a part of that class. You know, I want to, you know, be on the morning announcements and people see my face.
Yes.
It's the same reason why I wanted people to get used to disability around my high school. So what I did, I've always been the guy who loves cameras. I've always been the guy to interview people. So I acted kind of silly and I made people laugh that way. And I was known around my high school because I was the guy who did the morning announcements. So, and with that, with me doing that, it got people, I hate using that word, but a regular able-bodied student come up to me and say that. He was like, you know, I never knew that people with disabilities could be this outgoing and this funny and like, you seem like you're not sad. I've always thought of people with disabilities to be sad.
Sorry.
And I'm like, why would I be sad?
That's a common stereotype. And I'm glad that you pointed that out because language is one of my passions. I love language.
Of course.
And you just said you hate to use the word able-bodied. I feel that I just accepted that I was disabled, the word disabled, about 4 years ago because growing up, disabled was a bad word. And I have found there's so many words that can be offensive within our community. So I love that you put an eye on that. For me, is with a KN, kind of like you do with the dough. Mm-hmm. I studied to be a massage therapist, and one of the techniques would be kneading with your hands. Mm-hmm. And I thought of kneading. I have a company. I started my public professional speaking company.
I saw that. I think that you have a book, don't you?
Yes, I do have a book. Yes.
I saw that on your Facebook page.
So it's my company. I have several businesses, but my professional speaking company is Needing Solutions, with the idea that we as disabled people can create our own solutions. And we're always told what we need, right? We need medication, we need diagnosis, we need therapy, we need medicine, we need doctors, but I was just tired of telling what the world could give me, and I wanted to tell the world what I could give it, what I could give myself. Redefine what I created this world. So needing conversations is necessary conversations in our communities, but also what are you going to need today? Not what the world can give you, but what are you going to create and mold and structure and give to this world?
Yes, I think that's important. I always say that when I die, as long as it doesn't matter what kind of things you studied, if you're a doctor, not taking offense from anybody who's a doctor who has graduated from college. It's a lot of work, but for me, I'm a believer in God, and if God says that I did okay and I helped other people, then I did my job, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree with that. What's one thing I'm told too is you're just the word inspiring. Mm-hmm. I think we all have feelings about the word inspiring. I get, oh, you're so inspirational because you're not crawled up in a ball feeling sorry for yourself. But why should I feel sorry for myself? Yeah. I do believe that God gave me something, mm-hmm. and I have a choice to do something with it. And whether you're a believer or not, we have several choices every day. I think we make over 1,000 decisions a day. Yeah. I don't know the number, but we decide what we do with what's given to us.
Mm-hmm. So I saw that we have 2 minutes here, and I could talk all day. I could be here all day a lot in this room, but I want to say, yeah, that's exactly what I strive to do every day. Is like, why should I feel less of a human, or why should I feel better than you? I'm not an inspiration. I'm just living day by day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. The time passed by so quickly. And to all the listeners, thank you so much for your patience. This is the first episode of Needing Conversations. I'm your host, Jaqueline Cuevas.